Hello everybody and welcome back to Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson, and today I have another propagation to pot video for you, and it's all about what's going on with my beautiful Philodendron pedatum. Now I did a video 3 weeks ago from now, roughly, where I pruned back this mother plant quite a lot. And I repotted it and I restaked it, so you can go back and see that video before you see this video if you haven't seen it, because then you'll understand how I created my beautiful propagations and how my plant looked before and after. I am very happy with the results of this. This plant is pushing out a new leaf on the top of one vine. It has buds for new stems and petals coming out at the bottom of these vines here, and I can see along the tops and sides of the other vines, which means this plant really took to being rejuvenated rather than I just let it carry on as it was and it started to deteriorate slowly. The leaves started browning out from the top. Now this was a plant that was almost 3 meters tall. It just shot up to my ceiling. I pruned it back and then it started deteriorating. I don't know why. And then now it's all the way down to this height, which is about 60 centimeters. So I took it out of its big pot. I cut back all the long roots at the bottom, put it in fresh new soil, staked it up on a shorter stake, and I have been watering this plant a lot more than I did before. I was letting it dry out way too much. This plant actually enjoys to have a little bit moist soil, but not too much at all, of course. And that's why it's in a terracotta pot, to help the soil breathe as much as possible at the same time. But I've been watering it a lot more. The leaves are much darker and healthy and lush. And as I said, it's putting out new growth, so I know the transformation worked out. I have lost a couple of leaves on this plant that did yellow out and have to be removed after repotting, but I think that was still part of how the plant was feeling before it was repotting, because it was losing leaves quite quickly around the top part, but the bottom part stayed like this, and after the repotting it's just become better, not worse, that's for sure, so I'm very happy. I have one leaf over here that has a little bit of browning on one of the leaves, but that is no problem. Don't worry about things like that. That is cosmetic. Things like that happen with plants. Just go in and prune that little piece off and leave the rest of the leaf to do its job of photosynthesizing for the whole vine. The rest of my leaves are near enough okay. Some have a little tiny bit of yellowing. It's okay. This plant is pushing out new stems. I'm very happy about that. So, I have taken a lot of stem cuttings that I cut up into all sorts of pieces. If they had a node, I was going to put them in water and propagate them and see what happens. I had 3 large leaves, you can see on this side of me here, and they have just done so well. They had lovely nodes and some had tiny kind of dry roots coming out of the nodes, so I put them in water. Those 3 larger leaves, as I mentioned in my last video, when I fixed this plant, I wanted to put them back into the mother pot to create a thicker, bushier plant. I want more vines coming up this stake now. So those 3 will be going in there. Where the smaller stem cuttings I've taken here that have just done amazingly, they are going to be going into separate plastic pots for now, and then I'm going to be doing the plastic bag soil propagation of these plants as the next phase to help keep them moist and to help keep them happy as they go along. Now, all these cuttings I've had in my MarsHydro grow tent under my MarsHydro TS1000 grow light, the LED grow light, white spectrum, and it seems to have done the trick. It's only been 3 weeks, as I said, and all of these propagations have roots coming out fantastically and long everywhere. I think I have had an almost 100% success rate with all of these cuttings. Now, I haven't been in and pulled every single one of these out of these glass jars so far, because I have an awful lot that I crammed into these 3 glass vases. But as I see it, when I look through, they really, really have done so well. So I'm really, really pleased with this. So I just want to give you a quick sneak peek into my MarsHydro grow tent here, so you can see where my cuttings have been propagating and where they've really been enjoying being under this wonderful grow light. I have lots of other different things in this grow tent and we'll be adding more things, but for this video we are only concentrating on my beautiful Philodendron pedatum, and here you can see how vastly the roots have grown out in these glass jars, and I will be showing you these a little bit later in the video, closer up and out of the water, which has a liquid fertilizer in it, hence the brown colour. So they are in nice clean water, although it's brown. And down here you can see the larger leaves in their taller glass vase and how many roots they also have produced. And they are on the floor in the grow tent, whereas the others have been up on a table much closer to the grow light. But that hasn't made any difference at all because the light ricochets around the whole tent. So I am very thankful to MarsHydro for this beautiful grow tent. And well, the first cuttings and the first propagations that I want to bring in to show you are the 3 larger leaves. So let's get on with that. So here are my 3 larger leaves that had these long petioles and a piece of the stem. They have done fantastically. I had them in water that I've been cleaning out, but I put actually a little bit of liquid fertilizer in the water. And well, if you look at these roots, you can see that it has done the trick. The MarsHydro grow light plus a little tiny bit of fertilizer in the water has caused these leaf cuttings to just burst out with growth in 3 weeks. Now, this philodendron is also known as the oak leaf philodendron. You can see that by the shape of the leaves. Absolutely beautiful form and shape. Now, there's something I want to show you about these. There is one leaf here. So if you look at this one, it's yellowing out and becoming chlorotic. And I'm not sure if that is because of being under the grow light or if it's just that the leaf is dying back, because that leaf has produced a whole new stem under the water with a new leaf coming out. And that can happen when the plant starts growing a whole new stem. It then has no use for the main leaf and that starts dying back to give more energy to the younger one. And in a moment, I'm going to show you my Philodendron Florida Ghost, just to show you what I mean about that on a much larger perspective. So just look at this beautiful, huge Philodendron Florida Ghost leaf. It is amazing, and even though it's spent, I just cannot bring myself to prune it off the plant yet. I just love looking at it, but very, very soon I will be pruning it off, because if you look under here, you can see there are beautiful baby leaves growing out of a new stem. And now I'm already onto leaf number 4. The mother leaf did its job. And now the plant can carry on growing into a lovely, new, tall and beautiful Philodendron Florida Ghost. And I really hope that it gets the large leaves as the mother leaf with time. So I just wanted to show you that even though a leaf may be spent on a plant, it can still be working for the plant, but at this phase it's more for my enjoyment because that leaf is not doing much for the plant anymore and the baby leaves don't need it. So I will have to take it off soon. But what a joy it's been. So let's have a little look at these roots out of the water. And I'm getting water all over. Oh, wow. Look at these roots. I couldn't be happier. Look at that. So you can see this has been a 100% success rate with these 3 leaf cuttings from my Philodendron pedatum. And they have just taken off like wildfire. Now, firstly, I just want to show you this one with the yellowing out leaf, because it's not a problem. Don't go in worrying about that, thinking, oh, this one's gonna die and oh, it's not good. It's perfectly okay. There is nothing wrong with this plant at all. Look at these roots. Very, very healthy. And look at this new stem. Look at this new stem, people. Not only is it a new stem, it's grown out auxiliary roots here just under where this leaf will be coming out. So it's extending the stem even more. There's a little side shoot here with a new either stem or petiole. So it's not just one, it's 2. And well, it just looks amazing. This is a beautiful plant in its own right. So that is perfect to be able to go back into the mother pot and fill out that plant just as I wanted. Gorgeous. And I won't be cutting this leaf off just yet when I first plant the plant, because it still will need this help for a little while until the first leaf comes out down there. And then I can just go in and prune off this leaf. And I've just noticed something else about this. It's not just that one stem there and one coming out there. There are, I don't know if you're going to be able to see them on camera because they're so small, but there are tiny stems coming out of the bottom. Look there. Look there. I can't keep it still because I'm so happy. But look, you can see those stems. So there are loads. This is a whole bunch of plant on one cutting. It was just amazing. Oh, now let's have a look at the other ones. Put that one back in for a minute. And then I'll take these 2 together. So these ones you can see still have lovely green leaves. They're still happy and viable. And both have the most amazing roots. And you can see both have a new stem shooting out the side. And the one on the left even has a little tiny leaf. That is an actual leaf coming out of the side of the stem that is carrying on. And this one just has amazing large roots on the right hand side here, with its stem and side stems coming off that one too. This has just been one amazing, amazing propagation. Just 3 weeks and these plants are ready to go. And in fact, they were ready to go after 2 weeks. It's just that I haven't had time to get in and make my video. But these were already producing roots in the first week, and the second week they already had long roots and stems coming out. So 2 weeks to 3 weeks. And look at this, you're ready to go. So back in the glass jar with those for a minute. So well, now I've decided that before I go on and show you and do anything with these other stem propagations I took, I want to repot those 3 larger plants into my mother plant and start getting this plant looking like a big bushy jungle within no time, I really hope. But with water propagations, when they go over to soil, it is a hard transition for them. And that means I'm going to have to be extra vigilant on keeping this soil in this pot moist. And that means not saturating the soil or soaking the soil in any way, because that will cause root rot. But I do need to make sure that the soil stays evenly moist. So I have my water gauge. I'm going to have to use my water gauge to go in and test the soil and check that it is in the moist zone, never in the wet zone, and never in the dry zone. It has to be in the perfect zone to keep those 3 baby plants happy in this pot. So let's just get on with repotting them now. So to do this, all I'm going to do is just excavate a little hole, put them in, cover them up, and I don't have to worry about doing any kind of staking unless I need to stake up the mother leaf to hold the plant in place. Then just go in water, and then this plant will be even more plumped out. So I have my first lovely little one here, and I'm thinking that I want to put this around this side. So to do this, I'm going to have to take some of the soil out first. And you might not be able to see this so well, so you might just get to see when I've finished everything. So I'll take the soil out first. I just noticed you can see the one leaf there with the browning right at the front, which I've left on purpose because imperfections are also beauty when it comes to plants, I think, but in a moment I will go and chop that off. I want to get quite far down so that I know that the plant is in the soil properly and not just going to dry out straight away. But at the same time, I have the big root ball of the mother plant, so this plant ball is going to have to go on the edge, and I think I've got a deep enough hole. Let's see. And in we go with the first cutting. These roots are so big and so beautiful that this plant is really not going to take much time to take off. Now I need to use my fingers to get this soil back around the roots. Just need to move some of these big pieces of bark out. And without too much trouble, I have the first baby plant back in with the mother plant now and its lovely leaf hanging out to the side, which looks part of the whole thing and like it's always been there. Beautiful. So let's get on to the next one. Now, I want to put the one that's a little bit faded leaf at the back here. We'll make another little hole here with my spoon. I just dropped the soil all over the floor, nearly, just some of it. But mess, that is part of the game when it comes to plants and repotting, right? We just have to get on with it. So I am working around the edge of the main mother ball of roots again, making a deep enough hole to make sure that I can get my cutting in there. So, next one. That was the one with the fading leaf, but with the lovely big stem coming up. This is just looking amazing. So in with that, all the roots under the soil. And there we go. And I can put these pieces of wood and so forth back around. So quick and easy, just like that, I have my second baby plant back in with the mother plant. So round we go to the other side to plant one more. And I have a lovely nice leaf, so I can put that one here on the front side now that I need a little bit more space around here. Actually, I want to put it around here. So let's get making another hole. So, the third one, and here we go, and in it goes, into the mother pot, with its beautifully, amazingly, and so ready roots there. So, soil now. So that was the third one in place, and I feel now that I have 3 stems that are a little bit further away from the stake that I want to just put a 4th cutting in here to balance it out on all sides. So I'm going to take one of these here, and I have one that has a lovely big leaf, but I don't know how I'm going to get these out at the moment. Maybe I don't need one with a big leaf, maybe I just need to get one out. So this one, for example. Oh, this is a beautiful one. So I've taken this one out. It has a leaf that's just about to unfurl and a piece of the old stem that I can cut off. It's dried up. Just for beauty's sake. Put this one in there at the back, and then I am ready with the mother plant. So this one has a deeper stem, so it needs a deep hole. I don't want to disturb the stem and cut it or anything like that. I just want to put it straight in with its roots right into the soil and then cover it up. So that is the repotting of 4 of my propagations of this beautiful Philodendron pedatum in with the mother plant, and I am expecting now to get a beautiful bushy plant by the summer. I'm actually going to go straight in now and do a little bit of tidying up. Now the one leaf, as I said, that's dying back on the propagation, I'm not going to take that off yet, but this little browning patch on this leaf up here, I'm going to actually cut off. Then there's no chance of it spreading, and I know my plant is safe, and if there's anywhere else, I'll just have a little look. No, every single other leaf actually looks perfect on this plant. So it is ready to carry on and do its thing for me. So now all that's left for me to do is to give this pot a good watering through. I need to make sure that these cuttings, roots, stay moist for a good couple of weeks without drying out, to make sure they really get a good foothold in this pot now. And seeing how the mother plant is flushing out everywhere, I am hoping that my little baby plants will also be happy in the same pot. So here we go with a little bit of water. And, oh, make sure it doesn't run off over the edges. One side first. And another side here. And the last one here. You can't see I've added anything, it still looks like the same beautiful plant. But I can't wait to show you everything closer up, closer to the end of the video, where you'll be able to see the new baby plants and the shoots coming out on the mother plant, to see how this repotting and rejuvenation of this plant that was suffering a little. And oopsie daisy, I seem to have overwatered a little bit, so there's water pouring out of the bottom of the pot onto my tray here, which is a good job I have the tray. I didn't have any larger saucers for the bottom to be able to catch the water that comes out, but that is fine. I want the water this first time here to run through to make sure that this plant really did have moist soil all the way through. So right now, it is time for me to show you a lot closer these beautiful stem propagations that all came from my mother Philodendron pedatum. So let me bring them in for you to have a lovely closer look. So I just want to bring one pot at a time closer so you can see what has happened with all these stems. Now, seriously, if you haven't been back and seen the first video where I pruned these stems off my mother plant, then you need to go back and see what they look like, because this is all new growth within 3 weeks of being propagated off the mother plant. And all of these leaves and all of the roots that have come out, well, don't you think they speak for themselves? Look at this. Look at this. They are amazing. Amazing. Gorgeous baby Philodendron pedatums, all from a plant that I thought was struggling and needed help. So I went in and pruned it back and hacked it up. And now look what I've got. Lots and lots and lots of new plants. If I should look in this pot, I am serious that I think I have had a 100% success rate with every single stem that had no leaves, no roots, nothing, just nodes. Some might have had a little bump here and there of leaves coming out, and that was it. And then boom, all of this popping out of this glass jar. So let's get these out so we can have a little look at the roots closer. Well, if I show you these stems, I'm lost for words. I am lost for words. These have just grown out amazingly. They are beautiful little plants, every single one. I am buzzing. I am overjoyed at this. This is just one of my 3 pots, my 3 glass jars. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 stems that I put in this pot. And every single one is taken off. Look at those. I just can't show you enough. Look at those. No, there's 7. I've got a stem. There are at least 7 stems in this one jar because I have one still in the jar. Oh, this is amazing. I'm going to have to lay them down a little bit because there's one hanging here off another one that has a root stuck in it. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to get that out. Now, for example, look at this. You can see it was one of my stems, just a stem, and then it grew all these roots and all these leaves like this. Beautiful, perfect leaves. It grew all that. Multiple stems, multiple petals and stems within 3 weeks. And this one with an absolutely beautiful leaf and lots of roots. And this one here, lots of roots, lots of leaves, lots of petals, and then this stem, leaves and petals, and then this stem. Look at this, you can see it was a little stem and it flushed out all of these leaves. This was amazing. This shows this plant is a survivor. It shows this plant is an easy plant to keep and an easy plant to propagate. So even though my mother plant maybe struggled for some reason, I'm not sure exactly why, these propagations are all proof that it is easy to propagate that plant. If you have a plant that is struggling, you get in there, chop it up, prune it back, propagate it, and make yourself the most beautiful little new plants. You're going to have a whole jungle of them. So I need to get these all potted up. This was the one that was still in the pot that I hadn't taken out. Leaves, roots, all over this stem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of them from this one pot. Now you see this water, you're probably thinking, oh, isn't that dirty and all that? You should have kept it clean as you always say you should. Well, I did. This is a liquid fertilizer. I put about 2 drops, 2 little drops in the water, and that stimulated these plants so much. They loved it. 2 little tiny drops, not over the top or anything like that. I just wanted to experiment and see if it would help, and it seems to have done the trick, together with the MarsHydro TS 1000 LED grow light that I had them under. The combination has made these plants just take off. So now let me just get all these in soil as quickly as possible in pots so I can make myself lots of new plants. And I've decided that I'm going to put all of these in plastic pots because I don't have enough terracotta pots to put all these in at the moment. I think I'll put 2 stems per plastic pot, and then I'm going to put them in a plastic bag, keep them sealed, just to make sure that they really can acclimatise to the soil easily without drying out, and then I will have so many beautiful new plants. So basically, get myself, these ones are quite big, so I'm going to get the biggest pots I have, a couple of big pots. So if I'm going to put 2 per pot, 2, 4, 6, and another one, and I'll put another one of the other ones in, so that's 2, 4, 6. I need 4 pots to put the first 8 baby plants in. Got my soil here. This is a little bit difficult for me to do up on the table. I'm not an octopus like I wish I was many times, because I actually do need another pair of hands to help me hold these in place while I put the soil in place. But I'm going to have to do this, as I always do myself, and just take them down to the soil, put them in, and then bring them up again. Now, you know what? I need to, I'm going to have to fill up with soil. I can't do it like this. Fill up with soil, and then make a hole. I thought I was going to be able to do it the other way around, but I can't. Not on my own. I need a helper like one of my viewers suggested, or I need the ability to grow another pair of hands. So, put a hole in the pot, Get your roots right down into that soil to make sure they're not going to dry out. One there and one next to it here. So many roots. So many roots. Another one here, trying to push all those roots down in the hole. This root here doesn't want to go into the hole. And then get the soil that you've got and push it around those roots as much as you can. And then you can add some more, of course. So that was the first layer. So now I'm just going to add soil around the edge to make sure I've covered these roots. And then just firm the soil around. Once you put the soil up around the roots, firm the soil down a little bit, not too hard so you damage anything, but enough to make it cozy. And then when you go in and water the plant later, the soil will enclose around the roots even more. So there's my first little Philodendron pedatum potted up. And well, seeing as I will be potting up all of these cuttings in exactly the same way, I have gone ahead and pressed the fast forward button so that we can get all of these done and see the end result much quicker. Otherwise, this video would go on for much longer than the actual time you get to see. Pot number 4. I'm just taking out of the other jars now and putting straight in because I've shown you before how wonderful they look, so I'm just going to get on with it. They're all just as beautiful. So that was pot number 4. On to pot number 5. I've started taking out the stems from the second pot here, and I have a couple of slow goers here I've found. They're just starting to get roots, so I don't think they're ready enough to be able to be potted yet. So I'm going to leave them in this glass jar in front and just pot the rest. And we'll race on with a few more. There are so many beautiful pots and they're all going to be slightly different. And now I have my final jar, so we'll see what we have going on in this jar. So I've brought my final jar forward again. Lots and lots and lots of stems, lots and lots and lots of roots. Again, the water had a liquid fertilizer in it, that's why it's a little bit brown. Look at that, beautiful stem. And then I have this stem with all of these roots and this lovely leaf. And then there's this long stem here with all these leaves at the top. Also ready. So that's 5 more cuttings, which means another 3 more pots because I'll just plant one on its own. I'm getting closer and closer to being finished with all these wonderful pots now. Pot number 6 and pot number 7 coming up. So I'm starting to run out of a little bit of space here, so I'm going to have to put some of my pots over on the side here instead. So, just did that one. This one. This one. So, I have space for these ones. And, well, I think I might as well plant my last couple. I just planted one on its own, and I think I'll plant these 2 on their own. Seeing as I have spare pots and more space, I'm going to do that. Now for the last ones. So, while I was potting up my last cuttings, my battery on my camera decided to run out, but I decided to carry on, make sure everything is potted up and watered thoroughly through, because I didn't want any of the roots on these babies to dry out because they've been in water. They need to be kept moist at all times. So I have saturated the soil through with water so that the water has run out through the bottom. So I know that they're equally moist all the way through all of the pots. Because in a moment, they're going to be all put into their separate plastic bags to carry on growing out their soil roots. So they'll go from water roots to soil roots and be able to carry on producing their leaves without drying out and it being too difficult for them. Because I would really have to go in and make sure that the soil is moist all the time, and I'm not around all the time to be able to do that. So they look absolutely wonderful as they are. I have 2 latecomers here. that are back in the water that has a couple of drops of liquid fertilizer. I will wash this out and start it off again, but they have roots just coming out and leaves coming out. So in a week or two, they are going to be ready to be potted up as well. That just shows that some do grow out their roots at different rates. But this has been for me a 100% success. That is amazing. And I'm so happy about this. They look gorgeous. This all happened because my mother plant needed help and pruning back, new soil, and then I just took all the stems, as you saw in that video where I pruned back, and just wanted to experiment and see what would happen with these stem pieces with no leaves, no roots, and they have just all popped out leaves and roots. Amazing. And then I have the 4 cuttings that I've put into the main plant. That looks beautiful. So altogether I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 new individual Philodendron pedatums ready to go up and be like the mother plant. It's just amazing with plants, isn't it? They are amazing. The things they can do. They can duplicate themselves. They are clones of the same plant that go on and on. It's just amazing. So I am now going to take you in for a closer look so that you can see my mother plant with the new cuttings in the bottom and the new leaf coming out the top and the buds coming out of the sides. And so that you can see all of these baby plants that have just been potted up now before they all get covered up in their plastic bags and left for a month or 2 like that until I see they're big enough to be released into the air without drying out, so that I know that they've really established themselves with their soil roots. That's the way it's going to be for a while, because I've got this far now, 100% success. I want these now to go on to be a 100% success rate as baby plants in soil. So let's get in and have a closer look. So let's start with the mother plant here. And here at the top, you can see there is a lovely leaf unfurling. Looks beautiful. And all of these leaves that are on my mother plant are lovely and green. Look at this. And look at these. Beautiful leaves, doing very, very well. But let's get in and look at the stem, because that's the exciting part. Here, this stem has produced a little leaf bud and one down here as well. So, because the tops were pruned back, it is producing new petioles for new leaves to come out at the bottom of the stem, and that is fantastic. That is exactly what I wanted to happen. I wanted this plant to bush out even more. And here you can see one of my propagations that I've just potted. And if we should look over here, so if we get in here, you can see there's the propagation. And its mother leaf is this one here. This one here is the leaf of that propagation. Big, beautiful leaf that looks like it's been part of the mother plant the whole time. And then we can go down here. That leaf is the mother leaf of the second little propagation hiding down here, you can see. So that's also beautiful. And then look at this wonderful leaf here. Absolutely gorgeous. It shows you that the repotting of this plant was a success because the leaves are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Just look how happy and healthy these leaves are after transplanting this plant. I am very happy with this. So if we should move over, we can see my propagations that are planted up. And look at this. Excuse all the mess. That's part of planting. Beautiful big green leaf here and here and there. And in this pot, 2 latecomers there. And on the other tray, more plants with beautiful leaves, all ready to carry on and become beautiful, mature plants with time. I just think this is fantastic. If we look a little bit closer, you can see some of the roots are outside of the soil, but being in the plastic bag will help those roots to continue to grow and find their way down into the soil. But most of the roots, of course, are in the soil. So if it loses these top roots, it doesn't matter. They have plenty more underneath the soil. So you don't need to worry about that when planting them up either. So now I just need to get on and put them in their plastic bags. So I really hope you enjoyed seeing my beautiful Philodendron pedatums closer up, all my lovely little cuttings and my lovely mother plant and how everything looks. Now it's time to put them all in their plastic bags. So I just have these 5-litre freezer bags, and I'm just going to pop each pot into one of these and seal it up. So there's the first one. I have these plastic freezer tie sealies that I will be putting on the top of them as well. So basically, let some air stay in the bag, twist it around and around and around, like this. And then I'd suggest folding it over once and put your tie on. There you go. First one done. Air in the bag, sealed, and also easy to open again because it's got one of these sealers on that can easily just be opened if I should need to go in and check the plant at all. So let me just get on with this and fast forward because it's exactly the same for everyone. And while I'm doing this, I'm just sitting and thinking what an absolute joy this is and how much fun I have working with my plants and seeing new life growing out and just the miracle of it all. It's amazing. So that is me all done. All of my lovely baby plants in their own individual greenhouses that I will be placing back in my MarsHydro grow tent so they get the lovely maximum light of that TS1000 LED grow light in there that has been keeping them happy until now. It's been such a beautiful success. I am so thrilled with this. Look at all these extra plants I have. I just don't know what I'm going to do with them all. So, never be afraid to get in there if you have a plant that looks like it needs more care, might be deteriorating. Always have a look online, look at different gardening and plant videos about how to look after a specific type of plant. There are so many different methods, there are so many different ways people do things, so many different environments, and so many different micro environments. So please remember, whatever you see online, you must give yourself a lovely broad spectrum of ideas to figure out what you yourself are going to experiment with in your own home with your own plants. Because this method might work for me here, but it might not work for you where you are with the facilities you have, the temperature, the light, or whatever else. So do whatever you feel fits you best once you've made sure you've had a good broad spectrum of ideas to help you out. But all I can say is my method for me has been just an absolutely amazing success, and my beautiful mother plant has taken off and is looking beautiful and happy in her new pot. So, all I have left to say now is thank you very much once again for watching Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be uploaded, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye!